in many ways, the Clark Center is a kind of culmination of many quests. There's a very, very strong connection between the quality of design, the quality of environment, and the quality of our lives.
I actually flew with a couple of my colleagues out to London to try to convince Norman Foster to build this building, to be the architect. Very famous architect for building very open structures. And we really wanted him because he knows how to do that really well with a lot of glass and a lot of openness. So there's forced interaction. You can't go hide in a corner. And so we convinced him to do that.
We knocked on his door and we said, "Are you interested in a commission?" I said, we're looking for something that's more like an inverted building, a building that looks out so that people can look in, much like a shopping mall, where you have storefronts. And people who engage the building can actually engage the content and see what's happening. And so we're talking about I called it an inside-out building.
I remember being in that one of the first meetings, and they showed some research at things that had been done under an electron microscope and so forth. They were cellular, and the shape of the cellular structures was similar to what we ended up with the shape of the building.
If you have the kind of structure, the physical structure and organizational structure of BioX, you not only encourage planned interactions, but you make possible interactions that are accidental.
If you just have a virtual institute, it's hard to make the informal communications happen, and just having people in proximity, and more than that, having their students, graduate students, postdocs in proximity, that's what really brings people together into these interdisciplinary teams.
The whole idea was, and is, in the Clark Center, is that it's open. And again, you have that. You don't have the windows on the outside of that building. You have everything's focused around the courtyard and the activity and the walkways. So we had those exterior walkways, which someone said reminded them of a 1950s California motel. Peter Walker did the landscape on that. We put that underground amphitheater in there.
This building I see as a kind of incubator, and it needs to have many different disciplines represented in the building, almost like, since it's called the Clark Center, I call it the Noah's Clark Center. You know, it's sort of the ark where you have two of everything in the building, and it should stay that way.